Abortion party.
Hilariousness that is abortion. Yesterday we had a caller. He identified himself as what did he say? He said he was
Carl.
Oh, Carl, probably because of who are these podcasts, Carl. He said he was Carl, and then he said he had a question or a comment about Opie's podcast, and then he tricked me. Gavin, you've probably been through this before. They trick you and then start talking about things that some of the trolls talk about on internet sites and things like that. So I'm like, uh-oh, he got me. And then you're like, all right, you got anything? You want to talk about anything? Whatever. And then he just kept going on and on and on. And I kind of profiled him. I go, every time I've seen one of these guys, and you figure out who they are, they're always the same loser. They're failed at whatever you're doing.
Right.
And it makes them so miserable that they have to attack you in some way. My brother goes through this. He's gotten to the point where people had called him up, and they as a prank. And my brother's like, "So who are you? What do you do?" And they actually start a conversation, and it turns out every time well, I play guitar too, man, and
it's a form of fandom.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a form of fandom. And so this guy that called yesterday, I said, I know what you are, dude. You probably had a podcast or want a podcast. No one listens because you can't just make a podcast and have people listen. So you failed at that. You're miserable. You don't do anything. You have nothing passionate in your life. So you do this. I go, it's 5:30, whatever it was, and you're on the phone with me, ragging me about shit. Why? I go, and what are you doing after this? I go, let's play this out. Now, okay. Hey, thanks for the call. You hang up. Now what do you do? Do you go to the website and go, oh, I nailed him? Like, what? What's the end game?
Where's the victory lap?
And yeah, what's the victory lap here? And of course, you get nothing. It's like, fuck you, Sue Lightning. Fuck you. Your brother has children spit in his mouth for money in his neighborhood. That's one thing. That's the funniest one, by the way, is my brother goes around his neighborhood in Port Jeff and has the little kids spit in his mouth, and he pays them money for it.
He'd be in jail like within seconds.
It would be very quickly that the law would swoop in on you.
Yeah, or the dads.
Or the dads. You'd look like that guy that attacked Chappelle up on stage. My brother's in a wheelchair. I go, I just had kids spitting in my mouth. I paid him.
It's legal.
What the fuck?
Sexual.
That one's good.
I'm sad you're even giving him this attention now.
Oh, I know.
This is the best part of his entire career.
It is, but I think what I wanted to do was show you how great my profiling skills are. Because we found out the fans are great. They could come up with all kinds of information on this guy. And,
good.
Who is he?
Brian Gilgore or something?
Brian Gilgore.
That name sounds familiar.
Brian Gilgore. I think we got the. Do you have those pictures? Where are those pictures I was supposed to see of his tweets and stuff? Because he's got a Twitter account, but he also has his own fan club Twitter account that he made. Like, this is Brian Gilgore fan club. This is Brian Gilgore. So this is a few years ago. He goes, Brian Gilgore management in talks with Anthony Cumia about co-hosting the Cumia show.
Oh, no.
Watch this space. And then he tried Gilgore girls and Gilgore guys. He's got like this thing that he thought.
He's already got a name for his fans.
Yeah, his fan name. And this guy actually, if you looked at one of his first tweets, it's to himself going, "Hey, I'm your biggest fan. Could I get a follow back?"
And that's true.
Yes,
he is his biggest fan.
His only fan.
Yeah.
His only fan, biggest fan. So he he has a YouTube channel and Twitter account, and also he's got a SoundCloud thing where he does a podcast. Now,
You don't say.
put up his last podcast that he did. This is a while ago, I guess, but it describes the guy that I described yesterday. This is the guy that I described, the loser. He wanted to do this. He hates people that are successful at doing this. We've been doing this for 8 years here. I guess you could dub it.
You've been
successful.
doing radio for
over 20 years. So yeah, I think you could say you'd be hard pressed. You could say my brother spits in kids' mouths or has kids spit in the mouth. You could say I'm a tranny lover. You could say I'm a pedophile. All that thing. You'd be hard pressed to say I haven't had a successful broadcasting career.
that would be rough. Yeah.
That would be wrong. Now, here is the guy, Brian Gilgore.
Got a big decision to make.
Brain
here.
on the brink.
Literally, I don't know what to do.
You can hear the same voice from yesterday.
Either I pay for hosting for another year and keep doing this podcast, or I don't pay for hosting for another year and I don't keep doing this podcast.
How much is hosting? It's probably like $40.
I have
Yeah.
I have sunk money into this thing, and not gotten any money back. One time when
What do you want? A
when this
Nike
was more
sponsorship?
of an Opie and Anthony thing, like I didn't talk about Opie and Anthony per se. I tried to distance myself
Could you
from
pause?
it. I
Could
didn't.
you pause?
It wasn't
literally
like
under a minute in, and he's already talking about Opie and Anthony, and he's mentioned that he can't make money with his podcast. He's dumped money into it. Hosting for something like that, I can't imagine and it's not visual, so you don't have a big bandwidth thing. He's not getting viewers, so I'm like, what?
The file is, Garrett would know better than me, but an audio file of that long, it's probably like 40 megabytes.
It's like nothing. The guy wouldn't pay. You could get a free hosting for that.
Yeah.
Free hosting. But he's dumped money into it. What he sees as money. He's unsuccessful, so it doesn't really amount to much. But let's listen a little more. I'll give him a chance.
A lot of those people, their identity were Opie and Anthony.
Oh, a lot of those people.
Not me,
But
them.
because
No,
I,
of course.
came out publicly who I am on that Opie and Anthony subreddit, because some douchebags found out who I was.
That sucks. Brian Gilgore, they found out who you are?
I talked about it sometimes, and I don't know. It got it started. I don't remember what I was just saying, and that's partly why I probably should end the podcast. So let me tell you the internal struggle I was just having. I was saying to myself, if you keep, sure, you don't have a good memory sometimes, you forget things, but maybe the podcast is like a challenge for you, and it helps you remember what you were fucking saying 3 seconds ago.
It's great stuff, by the way.
So maybe you should keep doing it, and it's like a brain workout for you. But clearly it hasn't been as good as it could be. If this was a really good podcast, people would tell other people.
Yeah.
That's what my hopes was. I was good and likable.
That's what your hopes were.
And I found out that I'm not good and likable.
I'm not like
At least in this
good and
medium.
likable.
I'm
Yeah.
not good and likable in comedy or
All right.
podcasting.
At least
I'd
he's
have to
figured
say.
that out.
I mean, come on. These fucking people. That podcasters listen to me. A couple people checked it out and
Well,
were like,
yeah.
nah, let's see what happens there. He's got to work a lot harder than that. I didn't work that hard. I never took notes. I mean, I used to write things down every once in a while. I stopped writing things down years ago.
Oh, maybe you should.
This is a great story.
Isn't it?
I thought it was impressive. I could just press the record button and start talking.
Oh, could you
That-
pause a minute?
while-
Who does that? Who writes down some notes and just hits the record button or the live button and just talks about things? Oh, I don't know. People like Gavin, myself, Joe Rogan, successful podcasters. That's who does it. This guy couldn't be more of the fucking loser I described yesterday. On this very show, I described this guy to a T. He wants to so badly be a podcaster, and have listeners and fans and make money at it. And when it comes crumbling down because he's incapable of doing that, he's got to call up and go, look what I did. And then get on the message board and go, did you hear me yesterday? Yeah.
This could lead to suicide if he says this.
God, I hope so.
I was just trying to find on my phone. Remember that guy, Gordon Levitt, the guy? He played Bruce Willis, young Bruce Willis. In a movie.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So we discovered his brother, who was a fucking loser raver who would give these
Anthony Gordon-Levitt.
he would give these inspirational like diatribes on Instagram about you got to follow your dreams. He was a big Burning Man guy, and we kept making fun of him, and then he killed himself.
Oh, awesome.
So I think this guy might be pursuing the Joseph Gordon-Levitt's brother.
Maybe. One of his heroes are telling him he's a piece of shit. Yeah, my brother had one of these fucking assholes that were bashing him and shit like that. Big, fat, ridiculously obese goth guy. Wow. He was really disgusting. And he lived in his father's basement, and my brother found out who he was, called the house. His father got on the phone, and my brother talked to his father, and his father was saying, oh, yeah, he's got, like, crazy problems and everything. He lives here with me in the basement. And the guy wound up killing himself.
Oh, my God.
Awesome. Good. Goodbye. Fuck off. Fuck you.
Remember that dude who was fucking with you guys and he ended up robbing a Walmart with his son?
Oh, God. Yeah, that one. Another fucking guy who fancied himself a musician or producer or something. Yeah. This guy, he would bash that. He'd get my brother's gigs canceled, that whole thing. And he had a custody battle going on with his white wife.
He wasn't white?
No, he was at the very least mixed race.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He looked like a weird-looking black dude.
Oh.
And then he has the kid for the weekend and decides that's a great time to try to steal a speaker. And he goes to a store, Best Buy or something, and steals a speaker. He's driving in a Jeep. He puts the speaker in the Jeep. He starts getting chased by the cops, who I guess were right there, and tries to run the cops. He gets into an accident. His kid, baby, who isn't strapped in, flies out, dies, hits the pavement, and the baby dies. He literally steps over the dead kid to run from the cops as they're chasing him.
That's record-breaking.
Oh, just
shitbag.
Piece of shit. Piece of shit.
What a
I have not
scumbag.
seen one person that had been on that, because there was a huge website presence for a while. Not one that was a decent person that had a good career going for themselves that just decided, I'm going to spend my time here fucking with Anthony and his family.
Yeah, there's that. But even critics in general.
Yeah.
The only time you get any kind of from someone valuable when someone has a criticism of you and they're worthy.
Yeah.
They're always like, I might be talking about my ass here.
Right.
What about not reading from a teleprompter? Or what about you have less guests or more guests? That's how the real valid critics will critique you. But then the ones who are like, he's sucking this year, he's losing it, he's fucking drunk, he's tired, whatever, Adderall, Coke. Those guys are always painful losers in their own life.
Yeah.
Fucking terrible. Who are the biggest movie critics in the world? Siskel and Ebert, right?
Siskel and Ebert.
Remember Valley of the Dolls?
Yeah.
It's the most laughably terrible movie.
Terrible. And Roger Ebert, that was his movie.
That was his perfect movie.
And he's the guy that's telling people how to make movies, what movies are good, what movies are bad. And he puts out a huge piece of dog shit.
Yeah. It's a cult classic because it's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's like Showgirls. Everyone loves how bad it is.
Yeah, and that's what happens when they try to do. When they critique things, it's one thing. When they try to do it, it's just a horrid failure in every sense of
the less
word.
You accomplish, the more you trivialize others' accomplishments.
Yeah.
I remember seeing an interview with Rob Zombie, of all people, and he was like, when I first started White Zombie, I was getting all these people shitting on us and telling us we suck. And
oh, wow.
My first instinct was, wow, their band must be insane.
Oh, yeah, it has to be.
They must be in Slayer.
Right.
If my band's a piece of shit,
Yeah.
then their band's better than me, obviously. And then he would hear these bands and he'd go, "Oh, you're a fucking retard." If they were lucky enough to have a band.
Yeah. Usually it's just, noodling in the basement on a guitar, and they just don't understand that they suck. Or maybe they do, and that's what they're really pissed about. I know, like I said, my brother went through so many of those people because my brother's very successful as a musician. He's done very well. He still does. He plays in numerous bands.
He's really
makes
good
a
at
lot of
playing
money.
guitar,
He's
yeah.
very good. And that's what it takes. But these guys, they're like, "Bam, bam, bam, bam,
that's
bam."
why
I play guitar too.
That's why, as a creator, one of the most important things you can do is don't read comments if they bother you.
Yeah.
But don't let them bother you.
Yeah.
And just keep churning out shit.
That's it.
And you might suck. You might go off at a tangent with a bad guy that's not like a funny character.
Yeah.
Try that out for a while, but just keep chipping away. And the worst thing you could ever do is listen to some fucking loser who's a stranger, by the way.
Yeah.
Not your mentor, not
Right.
Mr. Miyagi, just some fucking douche and go, "Oh, they're right. I do suck."
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you could do. Churn it out.
So, Brian Gilgore, welcome.
His next fucking podcast is gonna be like, Anthony's obsessed with me.
Yeah.
That would be pretty good. What on his list of podcasts there, pick one random one in the middle, because I think that was his last one. I think he had decided he wasn't good enough for podcasting. Just pick one that's any subject. I'd like to hear how he opens his show or.
That was weird. That was very weird. I just tried to record, and my recorder said, "No SD card. You are a bitch." And said it like that at the end. Bitch. You,
Good stuff.
Brian, are a bitch. No more gigabytes for you. I was thinking about how much information could be stored on such a small thing as a memory card. Yeah, think about writing all that stuff down in a notebook. It's a lot of notebooks here. We got a lot of notebooks for all this stuff, huh? What is
Holy shit.
what does read write mean? When it comes to computers, what does read write mean? Is it a bit? So it could read write 1 bit per second, or whatever how many it is per second. What is inside of a bit? Is it 600 million people in there?
Holy
How many people
shit.
they got in these bits? Are they holding people hostage inside of bits and we don't even know it? You know how people say, "Oh, there's midgets inside and they're working the machine." Is that kind of slavery happen inside of these bits? Do we have little tiny microscopic people doing our bidding,
this is his
carrying the
random-
heavy load of our information on their backs?
Stream of
and bringing it
consciousness,
to
man.
our Pornhub. Bringing it from Pornhub all the way to your eyes.
Anywho.
I was learning about here's some more nature stuff that's going to bore people, that the people that you don't care
At
about
least
anything
he knows it.
except
There you
for
go.
me.
So that's a little bit of Brian Gilgore. So enjoy Brian. I don't think he's put out anything in years, actually.
There's not a lot of pep in his step. He's
No,
really
no,
just
no,
sort
no.
of going through the motions.
Yeah, that whole, playing it down attitude thing doesn't really, it worked for, Stephen Wright. Stephen Wright could pull that off.
Yes, but those were all tight jokes.
Right,
in
very
a row,
tight
too.
jokes.
He talks like you're in prison together and you're in the same cell and you're worried you have a concussion. So you're like, "Dude, I want to make sure I don't fall asleep. Can you just talk?
Just talk. Just
Talk. And if I don't respond, then fucking slap me because I'm worried I'm going to
wake
die."
me up, because if I fall asleep, yeah.
And then he's like, what else? What else?
Could I talk about?
Budweiser.
Yeah.
American company. Well, it's not American anymore.
Under whether
Anheuser-Busch.
the hinge on glasses, what they did before hinge. That's even too interesting.
Yeah, I was.
I'm like, what did they do?
We can't be as boring as him.
It's impossible.
It's a challenge. The Gilgore challenge. Try to be as boring as Gilgore.
Oh my God. Oh, I've had it. Fucking had it.
But before you drop the subject,
Yeah.
when you're on Twitter and you see these people, especially I monitor Proud Boys very closely.
Sure.
And so it's like, hey, anyone recognize this guy? And it's like a guy who's there at some rally to protect some conservative college student who was getting like fucking shit thrown at her by Antifa.
Right.
He's not there to he's not at a Klan rally. So it's a guy that's just helping someone, maintain their free speech. And it's some sort of fuzzy picture. And it's like, turns out he works at Mamaroneck Roofing or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's get him fired. And then good news, he's no longer at the roofing company. And
Yeah.
you're like, I would love to just be like, bing bong.
Yeah.
Hi, you got this guy fired.
Yeah.
Like, don't you just want to get them? They always have these anonymous names like anti-fascist scorpion or whatever. And you're like, wouldn't you like to just like tap him on the shoulder and go, anti-fascist scorpion? Yeah, this is the guy you got fired. What are you doing?
You got that guy fired. Why?
He's got 2 kids.
Why would you do that? Fuck you, fascist.
Crowder actually did that.
He did?
There was a while there where he was blowing up tweets
Yeah.
on a big piece of poster board, and he was going to their work and saying,
shit.
so you called for me to be killed? What was this about?
Yeah, he did that here. He rang the bell.